Hi, I'm Antonio Arroyo, CEO and founder of Supernova Capital, where we're on a mission to change the world by helping entrepreneurs and business owners change the world with their companies. We accomplish this mission by investing in companies and helping them scale to the next level. In this video, I'll be going over how we doubled sales for one of our portfolio companies in under 20 days for $0, as well as breaking down the exact strategy we used to grow that company, so that way you could apply it to your business and double your sales as well. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get right into it. Alright, so quick disclaimer, because this video is on the internet, I will not be revealing the names of any of the parties involved in this case study. But if you would like to learn more about the specific parties mentioned in this video, please feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to assist you. However, let's continue. So, we worked with a dog grooming company located in the San Francisco Bay Area that has been in business for over 10 years and has multiple locations located throughout the Bay Area. And after dissecting their business from head to toe, we identified the best way for them to grow their business was by 1, getting more clients, and 2, making those clients worth more money. However, that came with some challenges because as we dissected the dog groomer's business, it became clear that they had multiple challenges to overcome. First, they had very limited resources to use in order to grow their business, meaning they didn't have a whole lot of money to invest in marketing in order to acquire more clients. Second, this dog grooming company charged nearly twice as much as the competition for their services. Petco and PetSmart charge around $60 for a dog grooming, while this company was charging $120 and above for a dog grooming. Third challenge this company faced was they had high churn, meaning that the clients they were getting from their recent marketing efforts, which were paid ads, were not coming back again and again like they wanted them to. And last but not least, they were in a very competitive environment. In fact, just within 10 miles of one of their locations, there were over 100 competing dog grooming companies going after the same market. So, given their goals and unique circumstances, we came up with a unique solution to help them grow their company. Now, what did we do? We didn't lower prices. We didn't make them take out a loan in order to invest money into marketing. We didn't make them restructure their entire business. What we did to help them grow was execute a lucrative joint venture. Now, a joint venture, also known as power partnering, affiliates, strategic alliances, etc., is essentially where one company, Company A, finds another company, Company B, and gets them to go to their list, their client list, and endorse Company A. Now, in exchange, Company A agrees to give Company B a cut of the money every time a transaction takes place with one of their customers. Now, there are many different nuances that can occur within a joint venture agreement, but this is just a standard arrangement where one company gains compliance with another company and then tells them to market/endorse them to their list, and in exchange, every time they do a transaction with one of their customers, they will give them some money. Okay, so now that you know what strategy we used to grow this dog grooming business, I'm going to show you how we did it. So, because we wanted another entity to endorse the dog grooming company to their database, we had to first identify who that entity would be. Now, we had a few options from dog walking companies to dog vets to dog sitters to dog celebrities and dog social media influencers. And instead of just guessing and choosing a random entity that was involved with dogs to endorse the dog grooming company we were working with, we looked at the dog grooming company's current clients and looked at what they all had in common. Now, of course, all of them owned a dog, otherwise they wouldn't need a dog groomer, but we looked a little deeper and discovered that some of their best clients were really emotionally attached to their dogs. So, given the fact that they make the most money with people who are really emotionally attached to their dogs, we wanted to get more people just like them, not just anybody who owns a dog. And after doing some research, we identified a good target that should endorse this dog grooming company would be a dog nonprofit organization, because most people who are associated with a dog nonprofit own a dog, are really emotionally invested in dogs, and really want to help dogs live their best lives. So, given this information, I identified the exact dog nonprofit we wanted this dog grooming company to gain compliance with and be endorsed by, and I volunteered for them. Now, this dog nonprofit had dog adoption events every week, and so every week I would go over there, volunteer, save dogs, and get to know the people who were working at the dog nonprofit. Here's a photo of me volunteering and holding a dog. Her name was Patsy. Okay, so now after a few weeks of volunteering, I pretty much knew everybody running the nonprofit. So I approached the head of fundraising and asked if I could help them raise money for their nonprofit. Of course, they agreed, and then from there, I got them to agree to endorse the dog grooming company we were working with as a fundraiser to raise money for their charity. And in exchange, everyone who came to get their dog groomed by the dog grooming company we were working with, 70% of their order would be donated to the dog nonprofit. Now, you might be thinking, 70%, that is a lot of money to be giving this dog nonprofit just for going to their list. They aren't going to be even grooming any dogs. And while that may be a good point, we decided to pay them 70% of the initial grooming cost for a few reasons. First reason is because of the back end. Realize that dog grooming is a recurring business and that people have to get their dogs groomed multiple times per year, every year. So even if we gave up 70% of the first transaction, the dog grooming company could more than make up for it on the back end when those clients who originally came to get their dog groomed for the fundraiser need to get their dog groomed again. Second reason we agreed to give them 70% is because this dog grooming company had good profit margins. So even with giving the dog nonprofit 70% of the first order, they were still making money. And the third main reason why we agreed to give the dog nonprofit 70% of the money every time somebody from their list got their dog groomed with the dog grooming company is because they're doing great work and we want to support that cause. Like I said, here at Supernova, we're on a mission to change the world, and luckily, this dog grooming company we were working with also wants to make a positive impact on the world too. So giving the nonprofit money so that they could impact lives and change the world felt great, and we were happy to support their cause. Now, there are other reasons why we decided to give the nonprofit 70% of the upfront money, but these are the three main reasons why we chose this amount. Okay, so now that you know the arrangement between the dog nonprofit and the dog grooming company we were working with, the dog nonprofit had to go to their list and promote this fundraiser. And how did they do that? Well, their main method of communicating with their list was through their Instagram page. Here's a picture of that. And we helped to make a flyer and also a video to promote this fundraiser on their Instagram page. Here's a picture of the flyer. And here's a screenshot of the video starring yours truly, Antonio Arroyo. But with this flyer and video, they went and blasted these pieces of content out to their list, which at the time was around 15,000 people. And on top of this, we, Supernova, did something really cool to drive even more traffic to this fundraiser. What we did was leverage the positioning the dog nonprofit had with this fundraiser in order to get more entities to endorse the dog grooming company to their client list. Meaning, we were able to get other entities like local dog stores to endorse the fundraiser the nonprofit was hosting to their client list so that way they could support the dog nonprofit. And this is really awesome for two reasons. First is because if we just went straight to these other dog-related companies as a dog grooming company, we would have possibly got some objections, such as we already work with a dog grooming company or we aren't interested, etc., etc. But by working with a dog nonprofit, we were able to get around that potential inertia because it was to support a charity. And the second reason why this is awesome is because using the nonprofit's positioning, the dog grooming company didn't have to pay any of these entities a dime for their endorsement because they're endorsing the fundraiser the nonprofit is running in order to support the nonprofit. And this is all possible because in their eyes, they don't see themselves supporting the dog grooming company we were working with. They see themselves supporting the dog nonprofit. Now, I can go more in depth about this because I get really excited talking about this, but I'm going to leave it at this because I don't want to get ahead of myself. But this is what we did for the dog grooming company we were working with within the first 20 days of our campaign. So now that you know what we did, what happens when your dog grooming company goes from being in front of a few thousand people who don't know you, don't like you, or don't trust you with paid ads to being endorsed by one of the biggest dog nonprofits in the Bay Area? Well, you don't have to wonder because I'm going to tell you right now. So, after everything we did, within the first 20 days of our campaign with this dog grooming company, here are the results. First, we doubled sales compared to their previous best month. Second, we at least doubled the average new client's lifetime value, which was possible because we not only changed how they were marketing, but who they were marketing to as well. Third, we also hired 3 employees for $0 because we got the dog nonprofit volunteers to do most of the work involved in this campaign for us. Fourth result is we tripled the nonprofit's average monthly donations, which is awesome. Fifth result was the cost of this campaign was $0 to implement, since the dog grooming company paid the dog nonprofit out of the money they brought them. Sixth is we created a strong relationship between the dog nonprofit and the dog grooming company that can be monetized for years to come. Another result we gave the dog grooming company is we gave them a nice tax break, because every time the dog nonprofit sent them a client, they donated 70% of the order back to them. And last but not least, we helped the dog grooming company develop a truly scalable model that they can easily rinse and repeat with different entities across the country. So now that you see the results this strategy is capable of producing, here's how you can apply it to your business so you can double your sales as well. Okay, so if you are paying attention to the example I just gave you, you may realize that this strategy of getting another entity to endorse you to their list is broken down into 3 parts. 1, identify. 2, contact. And 3, compliance. So step 1, identify. This is about identifying who can double your business, who, if they endorsed your business to their client list, your business could double. Now, you can aim higher and target someone who could 5x your company or even 10x your company, but just be aware that it may be harder to gain compliance with them. But for the sake of this video, we are going to assume you are targeting an entity who could double your company. So, how can you determine who is capable of doubling your business? Well, first you want to identify what type of clients you want more of. Because if you're selling funeral services and you have a bowling alley endorse you to their client list, you may not make a whole lot of money. So, in order to identify the type of clients you want more of, what you want to do is look at your current existing clients and figure out what they all have in common. Now, the data you should gather from looking at your clients is demographic and psychographic data. Demographic data are things such as age, race, gender, income, marital status, etc. And psychographics are things such as attitudes, opinions, and interests. And what you are looking for specifically is 3 to 5 common traits among your clients, because this will give you a good feel as to who your ideal client is. Now, if you want to be advanced about this exercise, you can specifically look at the demographics and psychographics of your best clients. But let's just assume you looked at the data for all your clients and now you have 3 to 5 common traits amongst your clients. So now that you have this information as to who your ideal client is, you want to start thinking about other entities who have a client list of people just like them, because if they endorse you to their list, then you should get a good response. Oftentimes, this may be an entity that is selling a product or service people buy before they buy your product or service, or an entity that is selling a product or service people typically buy after they buy your product or service. And while this may not always be the case, what's ultimately important to remember when identifying a target entity that you want to endorse your business to their list is that they will most likely be much larger than you are. Because if you want to double your sales, you are going to have to work with an entity that has a large enough client list in order to do that. So keep that in mind. And another thing you want to keep in mind is that the main asset you are leveraging when getting an entity to endorse you to their list is the relationship they have with their list, not their list. Because if they don't have a strong relationship with their list probably won't be responsive and you won't make that much money. So when in doubt, I like to work with entities with a smaller, more quality list versus an entity with a larger, less responsive list. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to double sales, you are going to want to work with the entity that has both a large list and a quality list. And this is why when you are choosing entities to target, I suggest selecting 3 to 5 entities, because not all of them will have a quality list. And also because you probably won't gain compliance with every entity you target anyways. So that's step 1, identifying your targets who you want to endorse your company to their client list. Now, step 2, contact. Step 2 is all about contacting the targets you have identified and getting their attention to where you can tell them about your offer. And while I can talk about this for hours and hours and go over all the ways we have created to get in contact with important people, like how I was able to meet the billionaire Matt Ishbia, owner of UWM and the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make this step very simple and simplify it as much as possible and simply recommend being unique. You are going to have to be unique in order to cut through the fog and get the attention of your target. Realize your target is most likely much larger than you and they are busy, so unless you are unique and stand out of the crowd, you are going to just blend in with the rest of the background noise they receive all day. So don't do that. be unique, and get in front of the target, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your message is if they never receive it. Now, I know that may sound like useless advice, but that's honestly one of the biggest lessons I know on getting in touch with important people. However, if you want to learn more, here are 2 books I strongly recommend reading when it comes to getting in touch with important people. The first one is Get the Meeting, and the second one is How to Get a Meeting with Anyone. And both books are by a man named Stu Heinecke. Okay, so that wraps up step 2, getting your target's attention. And now we are on to the final step, compliance. Now, step 3 is all about getting compliance with your target entity. So, now that you've gotten the attention of your target and have the opportunity to present your potential partnership where they will endorse your business to their client list, you want to make sure they say yes. And whether or not they say yes is going to come down to 2 to 3 things. First, and this does not apply to everyone, but it is legality. In multiple industries, especially in the medical field and the real estate industry, there are laws that prohibit certain parties from paying other entities referral fees. So, if you are in any of these industries, you are going to have to address that concern. And there are multiple ways to get around this, which I can go into more in depth in another video. But one quick way to get around this is to have the entity market for you, so that way you can legally pay them a marketing fee and not a referral fee. Now, the second factor that will determine whether or not you will gain compliance with your target is trust. And specifically, they have to trust you with 2 things. One is that you will pay them the amount you promised them, and 2 is that you will do a good job handling their people. Now, these are pretty common sense reasons as to why an entity might be concerned with endorsing you to their list. So make sure you address these fears they may possibly have by having plenty of reviews, allowing them to try the product or service if necessary, and possibly even setting up an escrow account for where the money can go to. Okay, so now the third and final factor that will determine whether or not your target entity will agree to your proposal is your offer. Simply put, if your offer is not worth their time, they are not going to endorse you to their list. Realize that your target is probably as busy, if not more busy than you, and they don't want to give themselves another task to handle in exchange for just a few pennies. So instead of trying to pinch pennies and make them a lowball offer, what you should do is make them an offer that is so good they'd feel stupid saying no. So here are a few basic offers you can make. You can pause the video here and read about them, but ultimately realize that if you want them to scratch your back, you are going to have to scratch their back. Offer to bend over backwards for them. Give them most of the profits. Create the advertising for them, but allow them to have editorial rights. Give their people something special because they are coming from them, etc. Get creative, really go over the top, because remember, if you gain compliance with this target, then you should be able to double your business. Okay, now I can talk about each one of these topics for hours on end, but frankly, I'm going over my time limit, so I'm going to call the video here. Now, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to help you. And also, if you're interested in having us, Supernova, invest in your company, please feel free to reach out to us. Now, we're not always accepting new companies to invest in, but worst case scenario, we could become new friends. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.